Hi, Alan Stratton from As Wood Turns. At a recent Rocky Mountain Woodturning Symposium, I attended a couple of presentations by Yann Marot, an excellent French woodturner who was invited in. In the one that inspired this, he actually drew his inspiration from hiking in a canyon. Having gone through Boy Scouts and done a lot of trail work, it reminded me of a trail marker, which is a stack of 3 stones. So as I sat through his presentation, I think, okay, well, that's excellent work, but I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to do it my way. So as I was thinking about it, I said, it's an excellent candidate for the 3D printed bushings that I used, which are a bayonet style bushing. The bayonet style bushing comes apart and slides together with just about a 30-degree turn. I upgraded them as I came home so that it has a more robust engagement and is a single orientation, so it has to be inserted one way. And said that is an excellent candidate for this stack of rocks, because I can then take my 3 rocks, put them together, a little bit of a twist, and there they are. I have my pile of rocks and they can actually stand up. He used tenons, I used my bushings. So that's the major difference between them. But all in all, I like it. I've upgraded these, so these will be in my Etsy store if you want them. It's kind of a mid-zone between a thread and a tenon. So it's appropriate for projects where it's a medium hold and not wanting a thread. So here we go. Let's turn my rocks.
I searched my woodpile and found a block of elm that has been drying for a couple years. It may still be slightly wet, but I think it is dry enough for this project. Wood dries faster here in Utah than in Oregon, where I used to live. I cut 3 blocks with end grain orientation. The largest is somewhat over 4 by 6 inches and about 4 inches thick. Exact size does not matter. I marked center on each and then offset a 1/2 inch on the long axis. However, after I started to turn one, I realized my mistake. I needed to offset on the short axis. Otherwise, I tool away a lot of wood when working to an oval shape. Fortunately, I can still use the first block at left. I'll start with the video with rock number 2. I learned too much from rock number 1 to show it. Here we go with rock number 2. The wood is mounted at the center marks between centers using one of the offset marks and the corresponding mark from the opposite side. This block is too large proportionally to rock 1. So, while it is still mounted on the center mark, I reduce it to an acceptable size. So much for cutting the raw block to size. Now to shift the axis, the offset on the short axis. It is hard to know how far to cut. I decide that my best measure is the ridges at the beginning and ending of the offset cut. If they are 180 degrees apart, I am good. My preference is my largest bow gouge. Now shift the axis to the offset on the other side of the short axis. I also round over the corners, but not too much, so that the cut does not interfere with the tenon coming next. Back to the center axis so I can measure for and cut a long tenon. Now shift the axis to a skew position. The tenon is tilted back in the chuck for the skew axis. One side is almost out of the jaws. One thing I make sure of is to tilt along the long axis. Otherwise, in the next step, I may blow through the side. Then drill with a Forstner bit. I've chosen a bit that is the same size as the inner diameter of the bushings I plan to use. Then on to hollow this rock. But I'm not going to push the limits of thin walls. This is not the project for that, as there is a lot more variables coming up. After hollowing, I swapped drill bits for one size for the outer lip of the bushing. My rock does not look much like a rock, yet. I am using a rasp on a pneumatic tool to round off the corners and give my rocks a rough texture and some character. This is dusty, tedious work. Then, danger! I see a black spot on the surface. When I touch it with the rasp, it gets bigger. It must be a hole. My inside is bigger than my outside. Not a showstopper. Have you ever seen a rock with different colors at a seam? I have. I glue on another piece and return to the rasp work with a small chuck with an expansion hold. Then reverse it for more work before cutting off the tenon. Then continue. The rasp leaves a surface that is too rough for me. I mount an abrasive wheel in a drawbar collet and go over the entire surface. On to the third rock, the smallest one. This will be a bit different, but also mostly similar. I can also adapt with what I've learned from the first rocks. The wood is longer than wide with the same offsets. This time I have mounted the wood at the center axis. My objective is to round off the long ends and round over the corners just a little. Shift the axis to the offset on the short side. Now to round off this side. I want the ridges at the end of the cut to be 180 degrees apart, plus or minus, as this is far from exact work. As before, I measure and cut a tenon, but first, this is too thick. This is my chance to make it proportional to the other two rocks. Again, I'm tilting the axis in line with the long axis of the wood. I'm ready to drill this rock also, but not too hollow. The rock is smaller and the cavity will be upside down, so this hole is only to lighten the load a little bit. Now texture this rock with a rotary rasp. Yann used a straight rasp and had more smooth surface, but this texture is my choice. The tenon is too long to grind off. Instead, I decided to part it off. Then smooth it off with an abrasive wheel. I glue the bushings with 5-minute epoxy in 2 sessions. In the first session, I glue in the female bushings. Tape is indicating my preferred orientation. In the second session, I put the bushings together with plastic wrap between the 2 sections to prevent epoxy from fastening the 2 parts together. A quick bath in walnut oil completes my trail marker. I like my adaptation of Yann's presentation and my enhanced bayonet-style joint bushings. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my website because my notifications are more reliable than YouTube's. Please tell your friends about my weekly videos. I appreciate your comments and questions. Please wear your full face shield whenever the lathe is running. Are you wearing it?